They never said it out loud, but they didn't want you to make it. They watched you struggle and quietly assumed you would stay there. Some even tried to interfere. Subtle moves, hidden intentions, silent sabotage. But something strange happened. Every plan they made against you collapsed. Doors they tried to close reopened. Delays they celebrated turned into divine detours. You thought you were being blocked, but the universe was rearranging everything in your favor. What if I told you the rejection was protection? That the betrayal was a signal? That the very moment they thought you were finished was the moment a higher power stepped in and said, enough. This isn't coincidence. This isn't luck. And it's definitely not random. If you felt unseen, underestimated, or spiritually attacked, if people doubted you, talked behind your back, or tried to slow your rise, this message didn't find you by accident. Because when something is truly meant for you, no manipulation can block it. No jealousy can delay it. And no enemy can stop it. They tried to stop you, but the universe canceled every single plan. If this resonates, comment, I am protected. Like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear this. And subscribe, because what's coming next is meant for you. Orange heart. Someone didn't want you to win, and deep down, you felt it long before you ever had proof. It wasn't always loud or obvious. Sometimes it showed up as silence where support should have been, or smiles that didn't quite reach the eyes. You could feel it in the energy of certain rooms, in the way conversations shifted when your name came up, in how some people clapped for you while secretly hoping you'd fall. And yet here you are, still breathing, still standing, still becoming more than you once were. That isn't coincidence, and it definitely isn't luck. That's something far bigger moving in your favor. There's a strange moment in life when you begin to notice that not everyone is rooting for you, especially once you start stepping into your truth. At first, it's confusing. You wonder if you're imagining things, if you're being too sensitive, if maybe you're overthinking the tension you feel around certain people. But then patterns start forming. You notice how your growth makes some people uncomfortable. You notice how your courage triggers insecurity in others. You notice how the moment you decide to change, to rise, to break a cycle, resistance shows up almost instantly. That's not random. That's not bad luck. That's what happens when you begin aligning with something real inside yourself. In a culture like the United States, where independence and self-made success are celebrated, there's still an unspoken pressure to stay within invisible lines. Be ambitious, but not too ambitious. Be confident, but not too confident. Dream big, but don't outgrow the people who have known you at your smallest. The moment you step beyond what's familiar, the moment you stop shrinking to make others comfortable, something shifts. People who benefited from the old version of you start feeling threatened by the new one. They're not fighting you as a person. They're reacting to what you represent. Your courage reminds them of risks they never took. Your discipline reflects the excuses they still cling to. Your healing exposes wounds they've avoided for years. And that's where the opposition really begins. Not always through direct confrontation, but through subtle energetic resistance. Through discouraging words disguised as concern. Through doubt planted quietly in moments when you're already tired. Through sudden complications that seem to pop up just as you're making progress. It can feel like spiritual warfare, like an invisible tug-of-war between who you're becoming and forces that want to keep you exactly where you were. The moment you decide to live honestly, resistance appears. Not because you're wrong, but because you're finally right. What most people don't realize is that opposition is often confirmation. It's a sign that you've touched something meaningful. You've activated something powerful. You've stepped onto a path that isn't ordinary. If your journey meant nothing, no one would try to interfere. If your growth had no impact, there would be no pushback. But when your presence starts disrupting old dynamics, when your voice starts carrying truth, when your decisions start breaking generational patterns, the energy around you responds. Some people lean in with support. Others pull back with fear. And some, consciously or not, begin hopping you'll fail so they don't have to face their own reflection. Here's the part that changes everything. While you were focused on surviving, while you were questioning yourself, while you were wondering why things felt so heavy, something else was happening behind the scenes. The universe was moving, quietly, strategically, with precision you couldn't yet see. What felt like delay was actually protection. What felt like loss was redirection. What felt like rejection was the universe stepping in and saying, "Not this way. There's something better ahead." Think about the opportunities you missed that once devastated you, the job that didn't work out, the relationship that ended abruptly, the door that slammed shut just as you were getting comfortable. At the time, it felt cruel, unfair, like everything was falling apart, but looking back now, you can see it clearly. Had that door stayed open, you would have been stuck. Had that person stayed, you would have settled. Had that plan worked, you might have never discovered your real strength. The universe doesn't always block paths loudly. Sometimes it simply removes things quietly, knowing you'll understand later. People leaving your life unexpectedly is one of the hardest lessons to accept, especially when you didn't see it coming. One day they're present, involved, supportive, and the next day they're distant or gone. It hurts because we're wired for connection. We want continuity. We want to believe that everyone who starts the journey with us is meant to finish it too. But that's rarely how growth works. Some people are assigned to chapters, not the whole story. When their role is complete, the universe gently or abruptly moves them out of the way, not as punishment, but as preparation for what's next. You may have thought you were being delayed, but in reality, you were being redirected. You were being guided away from environments that would have drained you, away from people who would have limited you, away from timelines that didn't match your potential. Divine timing doesn't always feel divine when you're in it. Sometimes it feels like confusion. Sometimes it feels like everything is going wrong at once. But timing has a way of revealing its wisdom only after you've passed through the storm. Now here, where it gets even deeper, the plans made against you didn't fail by accident. They failed because of the energy behind them. Intentions rooted in fear don't hold power for long. When someone operates from jealousy, insecurity, or resentment, they're building on unstable ground. Fear-based intentions collapse under their own weight. Meanwhile, when your intentions are rooted in growth, healing, and authenticity, you're supported by something far stronger than ego or control. You're supported by alignment. The universe doesn't reward sabotage. It doesn't amplify harm. It doesn't side with manipulation. Energy always returns to its source, and that's not a threat, it's a law. What someone sends out eventually finds its way back, whether they recognize it or not. When people tried to block you, they were unknowingly setting up lessons for themselves. When they tried to slow you down, they were revealing their own limitations. And when they underestimated you, they activated a force that worked even harder on your behalf. You didn't have to fight every battle. You didn't have to expose every betrayal. You didn't have to prove every truth. Some things were handled without your involvement. While you focused on healing, learning, and moving forward, the universe rearranged the chessboard. Obstacles were transformed into stepping stones. Detours became shortcuts. Delays became divine protection. What was meant to harm you was repurposed to strengthen you. There's a quiet confidence that comes from realizing this. A deep, unshakable knowing that not everything is yours to control, and that's actually a relief. You don't need to match negativity with negativity. You don't need revenge. You don't need validation from people who never truly saw you. The fact that you're still here, still rising, still evolving, is the loudest response possible. It's proof that whatever tried to stop you didn't stand a chance. And as you continue forward, something shifts inside you. You stop fearing opposition. You stop questioning every setback. You start trusting that even when things don't make sense, they're still working out in ways you can't yet see. You understand that being protected doesn't mean life will be easy. It means life will be meaningful. It means the storms you face won't break you. They'll shape you. You weren't saved from every struggle. You were saved through them. Each challenge refined you. Each betrayal sharpened your intuition. Each closed door redirected you toward a version of yourself that's stronger, wiser, and more grounded than before. And that's why their plans failed. Not because you were lucky, but because you were aligned. Because you chose growth over fear. Because you kept going when it would have been easier to give up. Because something bigger than any human intention was watching over your journey, quietly clearing the path ahead. Orange Heart. Even when you feel vulnerable, even when everything seems uncertain, you are protected. It's a protection that doesn't need fanfare. Angels, ancestors, the divine, the universe. Whatever name resonates with you, they're moving quietly on your behalf. You might not feel it in the moment. You might not even realize it when doors close or plans fail. But those misses, those near losses, those sudden detours, they weren't luck. They were protection. Some battles never reached you because they were blocked before they even arrived. That heartbreak that felt devastating. That missed opportunity that made you question everything. That painful no that left you standing in confusion. It was shielding you. It was keeping you safe. Sometimes protection doesn't announce itself. Sometimes it works silently, and only later when you look back do you see the intricate design behind it. Life has a way of pruning. People leave. Friends drift away. Relationships that once felt unshakable collapse without warning. Families misunderstand. Connections that once felt sacred suddenly feel heavy or toxic. This silent separation is not rejection, it's elevation. It's the universe or divine intelligence quietly saying, this space is for your growth, not your stagnation. Not everyone who began the journey with you was meant to finish it, and that's okay. In fact, it's necessary. Sometimes the silence you feel is not emptiness, it's freedom. It's space being cleared so you can rise, so you can step into the person you were meant to become, without interference, without restraint, without the weight of energy that no longer serves your highest good. You may have noticed a shift, even if subtle. Life feels different. Opportunities feel aligned in ways they never did before. That's because your timeline has shifted. The version of you that once existed, the version that faced every attack, every jealousy, every sabotage, that person has evolved. You've jumped to a higher frequency, a higher vibration. The battles of yesterday were aimed at someone you no longer are. What they planned, what they hoped for, belongs to your old self, and it simply cannot touch the version of you that's awake, aware, and aligned with your purpose. Quantum shifts, timeline jumps, higher frequency living, it's real. It's not theoretical. And it's happening to you because you've grown, because you've stretched, because you've refused to remain small. And why did all of this have to happen? Because purpose can't activate in the presence of old patterns, limiting energies, or unaligned people. Strength had to be built, discernment had to sharpen, faith had to deepen, boundaries had to be established. Every challenge you endured wasn't just a test of survival, it was a call to evolve. You didn't just survive, you didn't just endure, you transformed. You became wiser, stronger, and more attuned to the truth of your journey. You became someone who no longer tolerates anything that's not in alignment with your highest good. The universe sends whispers, signs, confirmations, and synchronicities to assure you that you are exactly where you are meant to be. Maybe it's repeating numbers like 111, 222, or 444 that catch your attention in the middle of your day. Maybe it's an unexpected sense of peace after a storm of chaos. Maybe it's opportunities arriving effortlessly, almost magically, when you least expect them. Or perhaps people around you suddenly reveal their true intentions, showing you who belongs and who doesn't. These aren't coincidences. These are confirmations that you are on your path. They're subtle nods from the divine, letting you know that your alignment is real, your protection is active, and your journey is guided. Take a moment to notice these signs. Reflect on them. Share what resonates with you. Comment what signs you're seeing, because interaction with these truths amplifies awareness and reminds others that they too are guided. And this is your final activation message. What is meant for you cannot be stolen. What is divinely aligned with your life cannot be hindered, delayed, or diminished by anyone's fear, jealousy, or sabotage. You are divinely backed. You are under protection that transcends understanding. You are being guided, guarded, and elevated by forces greater than the visible world. Let them watch. Let them doubt. Let them plot or whisper. Their efforts are irrelevant because you are moving with the tide of divine orchestration. If this resonates, you already know why you found this message. Take a deep breath and let it settle in your bones. You are protected. You are aligned. You are unstoppable. Like, share, and comment, I am protected, if this truth lands in your heart. Let this affirmation anchor your spirit, remind you of your strength, and encourage others to recognize the quiet, unshakable support that surrounds them every day. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. What's meant for you arrives with ease. You walk under divine protection. Every misstep, every obstacle, every seeming setback has been transformed into a stepping stone, a lesson, a preparation for your higher purpose. You are no longer vulnerable to old attacks because you've transcended them. You are operating on a frequency of protection, guidance, and alignment. Remember this: life isn't about avoiding resistance. It's about evolving beyond it, understanding the hand of divine orchestration, and knowing with certainty that every closed door, Every silent departure and every shifted timeline was an act of love and protection designed to get you where you truly belong. Orange heart. And now you understand, it was never a fair fight. Because you were never standing alone. Everything that tried to break you only revealed what couldn't be destroyed. Every delay redirected you. Every loss shielded you. And every quiet moment of confusion was the universe working behind the scenes. They thought time was running out for you. They thought your silence meant defeat. But while they were watching, doubting, and waiting for you to fall, forces you couldn't see were clearing the path ahead of you. What you're stepping into now doesn't require struggle. It requires trust. Because what's meant for you is arriving with precision, not chaos. Let them wonder how it happened so effortlessly. Let them question why their plans never worked. You don't need to explain divine alignment to people who tried to block your destiny. Remember this. If it missed you, it wasn't meant to touch you. If it left, it was never assigned to stay. And if it's coming now, it's because nothing could stop it. You are protected. You are guided. And you are exactly where you're supposed to be. If this message resonated with you, comment, "The universe has my back." Like this video, share it with someone who needs reassurance. And subscribe, because this journey is just getting started.